All right, hi everybody, I'm Zeke Williams. Thanks for coming, I really appreciate it. This work is as Dennis said, almost all of these birds are the birds of the rookery at the Bird Sanctuary on High Island. I went there last year and they breed there, and they're having their babies right now, so it's a great time to go because there's lots of babies and it's really fun. And it's incredibly loud. I would say it's like over 100 decibels out there. It's so insane, and it's really really something. It's kind of overwhelming and intense. It's a real joyful thing for me. I'm sort of like reverse sensory. I would like to be overwhelmed, and it's a really great overwhelming experience. And I think you can kind of see that in these paintings. They're somewhat overwhelming, the patterns in the backgrounds are a relatively new thing for me. I started designing them myself, so they're all theoretically like patterns that have never existed before. They look a lot like patterns that already exist because patterns are kind of hard to be novel with, but these particular shapes are new in a very specific sense. My process is pretty simple. I find a photograph of the bird or one that I've taken, hopefully, but usually stolen from the internet, and make a drawing of it. And I draw a pattern separately, and I then overlap them and make some choices color-wise. And then I have to like break it all up. It gets sent off to a CNC router, which cuts out all the pieces individually. So each object here is a separate piece of wood, and then they're all sanded and made sure they fit together by me, and painted by me, and then glued together by me. So it's a modern process in that like there's some automation in terms of the tools, but it's a pretty much one-person shop still. So making art is often a solitary experience, and I prefer it that way. I like to work by myself. So obviously I really love like super intense colors and kind of like challenging colorways and challenging I guess like ways of dealing with space. But these are pretty new to me. I'm still kind of figuring out what they are. This work is really all of the works that look like this that I've ever made. So they're very specific to this show at the moment. But hopefully going forward, we'll see where it goes. And that's about that. Do we want history? Do we care?
I mean, all this work too is new. Like,
yeah, I made all of this since January. This is all brand new work. Yeah. There was a 12-week schedule, and it was done in 12 weeks, with the exception of the piece that's on the front wall. That was done last October for another show, but I knew it was going to be in this show. So it was sort of the roseate spoonbill that's roseate. I don't know how to say it. There's a local Galveston way to say it that I'm doing wrong. Anyway, it's really beautiful pink bird. It's really fabulous. I recommend seeing this bird. But also the painting's pretty good too. So anyway, thank you all for coming. Do you have any questions?
Sort of mentioned in the description too, but the glitchiness of the process too, where it's not just polished.
Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes in these, and when they happen, I try to leave them in if it's not too egregious. And I love letting the process be the process, and the mistakes the machine makes and the mistakes that I make, if they're not too bad, to stay. I enjoy things breaking, and like while these are like designed in a computer and made by a robot, partially, they're still pretty raw objects. Site called tiled.art, and it allows you to design tessellations like in vectors on a website. It's amazing. You can do it on your phone. I mean, I don't, I use a computer, but you could do it on your phone. Tiled.art, and it's free. You can save SVG files, which is what you need to do things with CNC, or at least the first step. And Illustrator doesn't like the SVGs for some reason. You have to run them through Inkscape. Anyway, very technical bullshit, but yeah, it's really incredible what you can do with free stuff. these days. And like, yeah, and when I found it, my wife and I literally just spent like a whole weekend just making things and sending them back and forth to each other, because it was just an amazing way to make work and just create new patterns and create new, like, just new ways of looking at things. I mean, we're both really obsessed with like fabric patterns and like decorative arts, and this is like an entryway into that fits with my workflow really well. So, all right, thank you so much. Thank you all for coming. Thanks to the Galveston Arts Center, Hotel Lucine, Dennis. Bye-bye.